Some animals living deep inside this forest had begun to mutate, growing several times larger than normal wildlife and becoming extremely dangerous. But what about the people who came here just to enjoy their vacation? This adventurous story begins by showing a farmer who, like every day, finishes his routine work and returns home late at night, feeling exhausted and in need of rest. The heat inside his house is unbearable, so he decides to sleep outside. Just as he is about to drift into deep sleep, he hears strange noises coming from the bushes of the nearby forest. Curious and uneasy, the farmer calls out for his pet dog, but the dog is nowhere to be seen. As he moves closer to the fence separating his farm from the forest, he notices blood stains scattered on the ground and hears his dog barking desperately, as if trapped and crying for help. When the farmer steps closer to the fence, he is completely shocked by what he sees on the other side. A horrifying, unknown creature is brutally killing his dog, tearing its body apart. The creature even smashes through the sharp-wired fence, and as the farmer stands nearby, one of the pointed wires pierces his leg, badly injuring him. Despite the pain, what terrifies him more is the massive shadow looming in front of him, making it clear that this is an extremely deadly creature. It becomes obvious that his pet dog is already dead, and now the creature begins moving toward him since the fence is destroyed. The injured farmer tries to crawl away, but suddenly senses something behind him. When he turns around, he gets a terrifying close look at the creature, enormous in size and horrifying in appearance. In a single attack, it pounces on the farmer and drags him deep into the forest, giving him a death more brutal than anyone had ever witnessed. But this is only the beginning. The scene then shifts to the middle of the forest where a tent is set up, occupied by a husband and wife who have come there for a camping vacation. They are enjoying their time together and even sharing private moments inside the tent. Suddenly, strange noises come from the bushes again. The husband steps out to investigate, carrying a gun for protection, believing he can handle any wild animal. His wife stays inside the tent, waiting for him, but soon she hears a terrifying growl that clearly sounds like a wild creature. She calls out to her husband, but there is no response, making it seem like he has vanished. Terrified, she gathers courage and slowly unzips the tent, only to witness a shocking sight as her husband's brutally murdered body falls to the ground. She freezes in horror as she realizes the same creature that killed the farmer is here. The creature, with two massive horns and razor-sharp teeth, attacks her as well, killing her mercilessly while her screams echo through the forest, unanswered by anyone. After some time, two elderly hunters are shown nearby, enjoying what they believe is a successful hunt. Suddenly, they notice the disturbing sounds and move toward them, assuming it might be a herd of animals. Near the tent, they see a group of wild pigs feeding on something, but one of the old men notices something strange among them. Standing in the middle is a monstrous pig, far larger than normal, almost demonic in appearance. The horrifying truth becomes clear that the pigs are feeding on the dead bodies of the husband and wife. Now the two elderly men, one named John and the other Luke, begin denying what they are seeing, telling each other that something like this cannot be real. But when the second old man clearly confirms that an unusually massive pig is present, they finally start believing each other. John immediately raises his gun and aims at the giant pig, trying to shoot it repeatedly, but due to his weak eyesight, he misses his shots. The noise alerts the entire herd, and the massive pig turns its attention toward them. Luke urges John to reload quickly and take another shot to kill it, but as soon as John loads the second bullet and looks again, the giant pig has vanished, leaving only the smaller pigs behind with no clue where the creature disappeared. Concerned for their safety, John and Luke first move toward the site and find the tent completely destroyed, with the brutally mutilated bodies of the husband and wife lying on the ground, so badly damaged that they are hard to look at. Both men are shocked because pigs never attack humans, making it clear to them that all of this is the work of that giant mutated pig. John realizes they need help immediately, and after examining the area, they suspect there may be other people still inside the forest, so they decide officers must be brought in from the city. John sends Luke to go to town as fast as possible, and Luke doesn't hesitate for a second, rushing out of the forest. John stays behind to continue investigating, but when Luke reaches some distance, he suddenly freezes in shock as the same massive creature appears in front of him, growling aggressively. Luke is holding only a useless stick, and his legs are not fast enough for him to escape. He tries to scare the creature away, but the fully mutated pig is fearless and instantly charges at him, viciously attacking and killing him. His screams abruptly cut short as the creature claims another victim. The scene then shifts deeper into the forest where another couple, Lynn and Kevin, are shown. They live in the city and have come here only to scare each other for fun, as they both love horror stories and have challenged each other to see who can frighten the other the most. Sitting on a wooden log, they tell scary stories and feel no fear at first because they have heard many before, but the tension rises when they suddenly hear a real growling sound. Lynn panics and moves aside while Kevin uses a flashlight to look around, calling out to see who is there. For a moment everything remains silent and dark, but then Kevin sees the same terrifying creature standing in front of them, a massive and horrifying pig. He cannot understand what kind of mutated animal it is, with huge horns and glowing red eyes, clearly ready to attack. Lynn is standing closest, so the creature strikes her first, impaling her brutally with its horns and killing her instantly. Kevin is left frozen in shock, unable to process what to do next, knowing his wife is dead and that facing the creature unarmed would mean certain death for him as well. So Kevin abandons everything and starts running through the forest, completely confused about what to do in this situation. But obviously, Kevin is no match for the creature's speed. The mutated pig charges at him with terrifying force and brutally tears his body into two pieces, its rage clearly visible in its bloodshot eyes. By now, it has already killed several people. Next, it seems John's turn has come, because after hearing the noise, he arrives at the same spot with his gun where Lynn and Kevin were just killed. He can clearly see their dead bodies and realizes the creature is still nearby. Although John has a gun, his reflexes are slow, and the massive pig, both horrifying and extremely fast, senses him immediately and kills him without hesitation. With that, the last surviving man, John, also dies in the forest. It feels like this chain of deaths will never end. The next morning, an open area is shown where a family has come for camping, with several members, including a woman named Linda. A short distance away, a truck is driving toward the same location, carrying a man named Ben, who is actually Linda's brother. Suddenly, the giant pig attacks, slamming directly into Ben's truck and flipping it over. The creature runs off immediately, leaving Ben badly shaken. His vehicle is heavily damaged, the doors are jammed, and he has injuries on his head, though none are life-threatening. Ben is confused and has no idea what just happened. Meanwhile, Linda and her family are waiting for him, and she eventually asks her father-in-law and fiancé to go and bring Ben back. Ben manages to force the door open and looks around, noticing deep marks on his car and animal hair stuck to it. Even in his injured state, he realizes this could be the work of a wild animal, and in anger, he immediately grabs his gun and starts loading it, determined to kill the creature at any cost. What no one realizes yet is that this massive beast is far beyond anyone's control, and if it ever enters the city, the consequences would be unimaginable. For now, the scene shifts to Linda's father and her fiancé as they arrive at a location while searching for Ben. Some wooden logs were stacked to the side when they suddenly heard a noise. As soon as both of them moved closer, they realized the giant pig was already waiting there. Its enormous size and terrifying appearance left them completely shocked. When Linda's fiancé noticed the blood smeared across the creature's body, he understood just how dangerous it was, realizing that this monster would kill anyone it saw. Linda's father tried to calm him down, explaining that animals usually attack only when they sense a threat. But Linda's fiancé was so panicked that he pushed Linda's father aside and started running away. Linda's father didn't even get a chance to react before the creature grabbed him and killed him in a brutally horrific manner. Linda's fiancé kept screaming as he ran, and fortunately, Ben arrived at the scene and began firing his gun at the massive pig. Several bullets hit the creature's body, but it seemed to have no effect at all. The monster's attention shifted entirely toward the fleeing fiancé, and it began chasing him relentlessly. Screaming for help, Linda's fiancé tried to reach the others, shouting for Linda and her mother to run because the creature was right behind him. However, Linda and the rest of the group thought he was joking and believed he was just trying to scare them. He even told them that their father had been killed, but they still didn't believe him, assuming it was just a prank. Reality struck in the most horrifying way when the creature grabbed Linda's fiancé in its jaws and dragged him away. Within moments, he was dead, and the monster disappeared with his body. Linda collapsed in grief, crying uncontrollably over her fiancé's death, and everyone struggled to restrain her as she desperately wanted to go after him. Ben reached them and urgently told everyone to run, explaining that fighting was impossible in this situation. He ordered his family to move quickly, lifted his sister onto his shoulder, and started running, focused only on reaching a safe place. Ben ran non-stop with Linda and his wife, planning to cross through the forest and somehow reach the city, even though it would take time and night might fall before they made it. With no other option, he led them toward a water route, believing the dangerous creature might avoid deep water. That assumption proved wrong, as this was no normal animal but a fully mutated monster. After crossing a small river, they entered a vast farmland filled with dense crops and continued moving forward, until they suddenly heard the same terrifying growl again, signaling that the monstrous pig had caught up with them. Ben moved to the front and warned everyone to stay back, but the creature attacked from behind, grabbing Ben's nephew and dragging him away. Ben tried desperately to pull him back, but it was impossible. The creature killed his nephew brutally, leaving them with no choice but to keep running. Now only Ben, his sister Linda, and his wife remained, all physically and emotionally exhausted after losing so many family members that they could barely walk. Still, Ben forced himself to keep moving, and just then, they spotted a wooden house ahead. So he immediately rushes inside with them and shuts the door to keep the creature from realizing their location. As they sit down, Ben's wife starts yelling at him, blaming him for everything, saying that despite being so big and physically fit from working out, he still failed to protect the family when danger arrived. Ben becomes extremely frustrated because the situation is completely out of his control. This is not a normal animal but a massive mutated creature that no human can truly fight. Ben's sister first calms Linda down, and all three sit quietly, trying to think of what to do next. They remain there for several hours, but the temperature begins to drop sharply, and the cold becomes unbearable. In this condition, all three could fall seriously ill, especially since Ben's wife and Linda are already weak. Ben decides to sneak outside to gather some wood and start a fire so at least the temperature can rise. But the moment he opens the door, he realizes the creature is waiting right in front of him. As Ben tries to shut the door in fear, the creature smashes through it. Seeing its horrifying face, Ben's wife and Linda start screaming, convinced the creature will kill all three of them. The monster forces its way into the cabin, but this time Ben does not back down. Armed with a knife, he repeatedly stabs the creature and punches it in pure rage, fueled by the memory of his nephew and family members being killed. No one has ever seen Ben this furious before. He keeps attacking, and although the creature barely reacts, it is clear that some damage is being done. Ben then tells his wife and sister to run toward the farm fields while he holds the creature off and tries to keep it at a distance. His wife and sister run as fast as they can toward the fields, while the creature grows even more violent and launches a brutal attack on Ben. He is thrown hard to the ground, dropping his knife, and before he can recover, the creature pins him down. Ben punches it repeatedly, but nothing works. The monster becomes even more dangerous, lifting him with its horns and slamming him violently into the cabin. At this moment, Ben is completely defenseless, with no weapon left to protect himself, while the creature keeps attacking relentlessly. If it manages to drive its horns into his body even once, survival will be impossible. Still, Ben keeps fighting with anything he can grab, striking the creature again and again. By sheer luck, he finds a hoe and tries to attack, but his foot slips and he falls beneath the creature. It continues trying to bite him, but Ben blocks it with his hands, barely keeping it away. The struggle goes on for a long time, and it seems the creature has no intention of letting him live. Meanwhile, deeper in the forest, Ben's wife and sister are shown running in terror, somehow forcing themselves forward. Luckily, they spot flames in the distance and rush toward them, desperately needing warmth as the temperature keeps dropping, and they stay near the fire for some time trying to recover. But once again, they hear the same sound that has already caused so many deaths. The terrifying creature has reached them. It becomes clear that the monster must have an extremely powerful sense of smell, allowing it to track them with deadly accuracy. Ben's wife and sister grab burning pieces of wood from the fire to protect themselves, believing that wild animals fear flames. However, this is no normal animal but a mutated one, and instead of backing away, it seems to grow even angrier at the sight of fire. Without hesitation, the massive pig launches an attack on both of them. It first grabs Linda by the leg and tries to drag her away. Ben's wife screams desperately, trying to save her, but she is powerless against the creature. It looks as though the giant pig is about to kill them both. Ben is nowhere to be seen, making it seem likely that he has already been killed. He fought with everything he had, but no one can stand against such a monstrous beast. Using its razor-sharp teeth, the creature nearly tears Linda's leg apart. Ben's wife struggles to pull Linda free, but she is stuck, and a single move by the monster could end both their lives. Suddenly, loud sounds echo from within the forest, and powerful headlights rush toward them as if something is charging at full speed. Both women immediately notice the lights, and even the mutated creature turns to look. Moments later, a car bursts out of the bushes, racing straight toward them. Moving at extreme speed, the driver sharply changes direction and slams directly into the creature. The impact is so powerful that the giant pig is thrown far away. It is then revealed that the car is carrying a group of young women, the daughters of the elderly men who were brutally killed by this very creature. One of them, named Sasha, has reached the scene. In reality, when Sasha and her friends went looking for their fathers, they found only their dead bodies. Realizing that something dangerous was stalking the forest, they followed the trail of corpses, which ultimately led them here, where they finally came face to face with the monster. All the girls step out of the car and comfort Linda and Ben's wife, keeping them close for safety. After such a violent impact, the creature is unable to move because several bones in its legs are broken, and it may never be able to walk again. Everyone is terrified after seeing such a heavily mutated and dangerous animal. Even though it is badly injured and unable to move, no one has the courage to go near it. Wanting to finish the monster as quickly as possible, Sasha's friends pull out a shotgun meant for close-range use, and Sasha prepares to fire. Before she can shoot, Ben's wife grabs the gun, deciding that she will be the one to kill the creature because it has wiped out her entire family, including her husband, who was brutally murdered. She is shaking with fear and fires the gun, but the recoil pushes her backward because she does not know how to handle it properly. Several shots hit the monster, yet it is still not dead. Situations like this show that using a gun to save your life is not as simple as it looks. When the trigger is pulled, the recoil creates a powerful jolt that can seriously injure your hands or shoulder if handled incorrectly. That is why hand positioning is extremely important. A small firearm should always be held firmly with both hands, and when pulling the trigger, pressure should be directed toward the rear of the weapon, otherwise the recoil can cause the gun to snap back dangerously. Longer weapons like rifles or sniper guns must be supported against the shoulder, which needs to stay strong and steady, because poor handling can seriously injure it. Most advanced guns also have a safety lever that must be activated before the trigger can be pulled, so that lever must be switched on first. While aiming, focus on the small sight located just above the barrel opening, and when the target is perfectly aligned with it, the shot will hit accurately. By combining all these techniques, one can learn to handle a weapon properly, but only in extreme survival situations. Under normal circumstances, owning or using a gun legally requires proper licensing. If Linda and Ben's wife had known all these things earlier, they could have killed the creature in a single attempt. One important weakness of these mutated and dangerous animals is their eyes. As seen in many stories, attacking the eyes or other sensitive organs of massive creatures makes them far more vulnerable and can even kill them. Sasha clearly understood this well, which is why she immediately took the gun from Ben's wife and aimed directly at the creature's eyes. After firing 2 or 3 precise shots, one of its eyes bursts, and the giant creature collapses, writhing in pain before dying on the spot. Although there is still some movement in its body, it is clear that it will never get up again. For the moment, everything seems under control, but they cannot risk staying in the forest. If one pig could mutate into such a massive monster, there could easily be others lurking nearby. So Sasha quickly puts Ben's wife and Linda into the car and drives out of the forest at full speed with her friends. Still, Ben's wife and Linda cannot stop thinking about Ben. They just want to see his body once to confirm whether he survived or not. Luckily, they reach the spot where Ben had been fighting the creature, and to everyone's relief, Ben is still alive, though his body is covered in deep wounds. But the most important thing is that he is alive. Somehow, everyone manages to lift the badly injured Ben and get him into the vehicle. He needs medical treatment as soon as possible, so they do not waste a single moment and immediately leave the area. They decide that no one should ever be allowed to enter this forest again, and they will definitely inform the police officers about everything that happened. Hopefully, that mutated animal was the only one in the forest, and now that it has been killed, there should be no further danger. However, near the dead body of that terrifying creature, more glowing eyes appear, and the sound of growling makes it clear that other animals have already mutated as well. Those animals had fed on the flesh of the mutated pig, meaning that any creature that even tastes its body will also mutate. This could create a massive disaster in the future. There is no telling what kind of destruction these unknown creatures might cause next, or whether they could eventually reach the city. Perhaps all of this will be revealed in the second part. For now, our story comes to an end here.